It is here, everybody. The time has come to start tearing the 77 down. So, a little bit of a backstory here on this. It was a lawn ornament for like 20 years or even more out in, what was it, Oregon or Washington. Came with a 40-inch, well, it had a 40-inch bar and chain on it, which I contacted the guy who sold this one to me, and he says, yes, he'll sell it to me. So that's way future there. But I have not done anything with the saw other than what I did on the last video and kind of played with the starter a little bit over here and then stopped. But everything has been left alone. The only thing I've done is put a bunch of PB Blaster down the exhaust port to try to get it soaked to the bottom end of this saw and, you know, hopefully free up. And it actually has been taking it in very nicely. At first, it was barely trickling in. I didn't think there was any hope, but then it finally started soaking down. I hit a lot of nuts and bolts, key nuts and bolts on this thing to get soaking. I took the spark plug out, and it ain't going back in. It took some of the aluminum threads with it. So, sprayed PB Blaster down the cylinder, and hasn't really taken it in. But down at the bottom down here, because it was on its side, it's wet, from what I think, is coming through the cylinder where it was, and it was all the PB Blaster I was soaking, coming in and then like dribbling down and stuff. So it's all down here. Not sure if it's exactly where it's from. Why we're going to be starting on this here is because a guy I know had, I can't remember if I showed this or not, a cylinder for a 77 and 73, they're the same. Piston, which is 10 over. I'm having to look at the screen, see when I can see it here. 10 over. Piston, cylinder, and its rings. So that enables us to be able to do this project. The crankshaft, I don't know the condition of it yet, but they interchange pretty much. All of them interchange. I'll have to look up a few models if they do or don't, because I know on some there was a timing change, like the 430 to 430A. But I think I looked up the 47 in this, and they share in the 73, and they share the same crankshaft, which it's the same engines on the 73 and 77. So crankshafts will interchange on those. But it is complete. The gearbox does rotate. So pretty much what we're going to be doing is tearing it down to the bears first. And getting the flywheel off, I think, is going to be the biggest thing. I need to get a torch for that. I haven't even taken off the air cleaner to see if what it looks like under there, but there is a filter under there still. None of the buttons work, so it's going to be another one of them deals. We'll hope that the insides look halfway decent. I don't know. It's actually one of those styles that McCulloch finally did for the gas tank. Man, I'm terrible at this. Where the other gear drive styles, you had to take the tank off to get to the screws to split the tank. This one, they put it up on top to be able to do that, which made life easier. This one has been into the tank before, because all the screws have witness tool marks on them. Somebody's been in underneath the flywheel, had the covers off and stuff before. So it's not like, you know, she's a virgin in there, where nobody's ever touched anything. So we're going to start by taking the side covers off, all the metals, get the tank off. Like I said, we're just going to be stripping it, because what we're going to end up probably having to do here, ultimately, is we're going to be cutting a connecting rod. And I'm not really looking as forward to that, because, as I hope, you know, the piston is not all the way on like a downstroke to where I can get maximum up to get a tool in between the cylinder and the block. So to be able to get an Allen in there and hopefully break it free, I just don't think that's going to happen. So, but connecting rods, I have one right there and everything. So there's going to be a lot of cutting. There's going to be some cutting on that and everything. But that's like last resort. We'll see what we can do. I don't know if the jug could be saved, if the piston could even be squeezed or pulled out of the jug for it to be saved, and maybe an oversized piston in the future could be used for whatever. There's just so many unknowns right now going on with this. The first thing we're going to have to do, we're going to have to get on the inside of this old girl. So I'm hoping the bottom end isn't completely rotted out. If the crank can be saved, I don't know how far we'll get on this video on teardown. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started here. Let me gather the tools up. Make sure I've got everything here. Alright, I'm no professional at this. I've done a couple of them, 273s before this. I've taken off countless side covers though. So pretty much a basic tear downs on these. And the 77 is new to me when it comes to the fuel system, and the carb is a little bit different. They redid it for this model. And any questions or anything or whatnot, go ahead and leave it in the comments for me. I'm happy to answer them when I get a chance to. There's some people that have still had these. There's one guy, I can't remember his name. He had a 430, and he said he couldn't get the flywheel off and was going to kind of give up. And I told him, I'm right here to help. And it just kind of lost contact. And I hate seeing that. You know, he bought the tools to do it all, and it's like one of those, you're not going to break it. You know, it's just really on there. So everything we see here is all new to me. Look at that. That's why my shipping weight was so expensive. Alright, and I'm just going to be putting covers down inside of a tote down here, and we'll get to cleaning them later. I'll probably do a lot of cleaning off screen, to be honest. Oh yeah, she's locked solid. Getting this one off is going to be a big one. Oh, there we go. It broke loose. There. But you have to come off for me. I kind of knew that was going to happen. Get the light down here where you all can see. Not the greatest lighting in the world. Now I'm trying to keep my head out of the way. Just get the coil off now. Let me rephrase, we might get the coil off right now. It's one thing I hate about flatheads. Oh yeah, plenty of oil behind it. Actual oil. I can't actually say that's my stuff, because that's way too thick to be... I may see a little PB in there, but it looks way too thick to be PB Blaster. It's actually got oil. I don't know if the coil can be saved, but it looks like it has a good layer of stuff on it that might have protected it over all these years. So, alright. No, let's see here. The last one was screwed on, and this one looks to be soldered on. Oh, no, there's the connector. Okay. So there's our coil, in whatever condition you can call it. Actually, it looks decent. Just nasty, but it's there. I don't see any cracks, but we'll find out later on that. Getting this tank off. There's the old crusty bolt right there. And then we'll have to undo some other ones for the tins as we go around. trying to see where all the tank bolts are. That was one that held it. That one holds it. I'm curious too what it looks like behind this flywheel. Because once we get it pulled and get some covers off, that will be the make or break of a lot of things. I guess I'm missing the key sockets. Yeah, you're too big. At least that's what it looks like. Well, guess who hasn't been out in a while? I'm just going to have to be a little mean to some of the bolts and everything, though, because when it sits outside forever, you're going to tend to have to do that. There's another one down in here I have to get to. Ow, the bucking spikes. Those don't feel good on the skin or the body. I need more extension. Don't take out the extensions too often. When they're stuck like that, I'll set you down there. I'm trying to make it to where you guys can see it, but I also got to be able to get it up in there. There we go. Not difficult as I'm showing you this. There's nothing difficult about taking one of these apart. It just looks very overwhelming, and it's not. Just literally just simple nuts and bolts. I'm curious to see what the clutch looks like too. It only came with one screw in there. I'm not even sure this one has to come out, to be honest, but we're going to do it. Oh yeah, it has to because it holds the 10. Alright, we're going to have to get that old girl out. You going to be nice? I see there's a retainer holding it. So as far as the tank ever being off, I can't say it has been. Only the top undone. It's one of those fold over nut keepers. It's good. Or at least it looks good. Alright, sweetie. Be nice. Awesome. Last time that was a part. Let's see here. I'm not sure of all the locations, if that's all of them for the tank, or she's just really stuck down. I couldn't tell you. You guys see it? And I'm not even sure if there's an internal one or not that holds it down either. I just can't say. Well, I never took one of these apart before, so I don't... Just don't know what she does and doesn't hold her. I'm curious if there is one inside the tank that holds it down. But I kind of doubtful because that would have created, you know, kind of brought on an onset of leaks. Let me investigate a little bit more here. I went ahead and took this top off. And this is where the air filter sits, like so. And then it just filters through right here and into the carb. That was the biggest design difference. I'm not seeing anything that really says that holds the tank together here, that holds it to the body. I mean, it kind of wants to come up, but it acts like there might be some resistance somewhere. I really hate prying up on these. And I don't know if this one right here actually holds it. There's a there. I don't know if it holds it down or not, so we're going to go ahead and just undo that. Because it's got a lock on it, like it's pretty important that it... I mean, I know it's for the air intake and you really don't want that sucked in, so why they would put a lock on it, but I kind of have my doubts. But it just seems weird to have only one bolt over here to hold it, and then this back part, there's like nothing. So I don't... Say I'd never cracked open a 77 or even seen a video of it being done. Kinda flying blind here. Yeah. Pretty short to be a hold down, that's for sure. Pretty short. You part of the tank? In quotes, part of the tank, I should say. And those are two ones I can see that they don't look like they hold down anything. Nah, that's just part of the tank itself. Yeah, I kind of figured that wasn't doing much of anything. Well, I guess I'll just keep trying at it. I'll keep looking her over and everything, but I don't see anybody else. I mean, there's a gasket down here where it combines, and I know gaskets over time, they like to be the glue of things. So I'll keep prying at it, and when it starts popping loose, I'll bring you back. Alright, so I went around prying a little bit, and down here was still holding. Took those bolts out, and I tapped on it, and things started to lift, so brought you guys. So, indeed, those two bolts were indeed holding it down right here. Good to know. So, there is our tank, our single pump fuel. I mean, it's a totally different animal. I don't know how the inside of these look. So, bottom of the tank does not We got a spot right there. Yeah, that's fine. Hopefully nothing critical like passages or 8 out in her. But other than that, JB Weld, tank liner, we can fix that. So, all right. I may have to go outside and start up the air compressor. So there's the tank. And I haven't even cracked it open. We'll explore that on another video. Because that top was on there. Alright, so there's your impulse tube. Which is what pumps. It's two things. It impulses to pump inside the tank. A pump in there. At least on the other ones it did. I didn't see it on this, but nothing says, like, say, the design changed. And it's also when you shoot your primer, it shoots a squirt of fuel right directly into the crankcase for easy fire up. Because these don't use a choke system, they use a primer. So, your high-speed adjustment, richer. That way brings the needle up a little, and high-speed needle up, and more fuel. Other way for leaner. You can pull this back and adjust it like a ratcheting system, but we are going to leave it alone. So, she's crusty. So we'll go ahead and we'll try and pull this tin. Off. There's that tin. Now it's just starting to look familiar, to be honest. Like I've done this before. Or a very similar situation. Alright. So, we've got, for the tank hold down, 1, which is flywheel, 2, 3, 4, 5. For it. Still got all of her dirt and everything on her from when she did run, from looks of sawdust and everything. And it might have been a runner when it was just left as a lawn ornament. Let's go ahead and get the starter assembly. Now you'll notice it springs back. That is an anti-kickback or spring. What it is when you're pull starting it, if it wants to go the other direction, pop the other way, this spring takes up that so it doesn't jerk it back in on you. But also on shutdown, when the engine rotates backwards, that also took the give out. So there's an internal spring, and then there was your rewinding spring. Which we will see if we will have to get into more of that later, which I'm pretty sure we're going to have to. Let's get this starter off. This is a good tool to put up here. Trying to stay better organized for this setup. Where'd you come from? Ooh, that's crusty. Got a crusty old girl in there. 1, starter assembly. Hopefully that could be saved, but we'll see. Still has some rope in it. 1. Let's see. At least the clutch still turns. Somewhat. At least it still turns. So the gearbox is freed up. I'm going to have to get the bolts and modify the puller to pull the clutch off of this. So that will not be a today thing. Even if I had to make the puller and get the bolts and whatnot, then so be it. But that's something I lack still. I've never had to pull a clutch on one of these. Not that it's difficult. It's pretty much like any other standard setup. I'm curious. We try to rotate that nut. Will anything happen other than tightening of a nut? And I'm pretty sure it's a 9/16, and I don't know what I did with it. Well, I know where one is. No, it's bigger. Bigger? The engine will even attempt to rotate, which I severely doubt. Nope, just tightening a nut. But what we will do is loosen her up for now. So when we go to try to rotate things, that's an easy one to deal with. Kind of taking advantage of the engine being seized for tightening and loosening things on the crank. I've had one of these nuts back off before on me, on the 73, if you didn't see that video. So, alright, that's loose. We're going to leave Let Sleeping Dogs Lie there. Engine is indeed stuck. Alright, next, let's go ahead and pull that flywheel, or attempt to do it. Get everything set up for that. Get her on there. Maybe this one it'll pop off while you guys are watching. What are we gonna call this? Take one. Ugh. So these bolts I actually just had to go buy not too long ago because the four-wheeler outside. I did make a video on it and everything, but restoring the ignition, a $15 eBay stator coil is all it needed and runs beautifully. Had to go get special bolts for those to get the flywheel off it, I guess we could call it, stator wheel, and they fit for this perfectly. The threads, thread count and everything, so it's a fine thread on these. It's actually a metric is what it took in, so. I'm just hoping everybody's gonna be happy here and doesn't break anything, but it's where things kind of get a little scary feeling to them. You never get that? My 9/16 sockets disappeared out of that nice setup. I don't like that 9/16s too well. If I grab a 9/16s. Wait, hold on. I have an impact rated one, and it's mushroomed out on the end. So, alright. Well, if we break it, we break it. If it breaks, it was never meant to be, right? It's only a little mini impact. Come on, baby. This is gonna make a pop, that's for sure. Gonna make a bang sound. Nope. That lower one's pulling out on me. Yeah, that's pulling out on me. I kind of figured that was going to happen. This flywheel is on here for sure. Might have to actually get one that clamps on the outside to pull. Yep. I kind of figured that was what was going to happen. So, take one, failure. Gotta thank the torch again. Hit it for about 10 seconds. Lightly, and just popped right off. So we'll get it all back inside now. Well, well, there is a saw underneath that mess after all. Oh, good. We've got a seal number there, which I already know what it is. But we're going to cross, make sure everything. There is PB blaster coming out of some areas here of a gasket from inside that is soaked down, so that's also a good positive. There's 2 bolts right there, 2 of the 4 that hold the cylinder on. So, paint's pretty good, but that's the least of the stuff here we need to worry about. Alrighty, there is a saw under that mess, as I said. So, yeah, I figured I'd get the air compressor out. A little bit of heat, flywheel pops right off. Expanded enough and just didn't even make a sound. At least through the clicks and clacks. So, first we got to get 1, 2, 3 out. That is your intake system, which it comes through the carb with your fuel and air mix, and they go all combined and then take a really hard turn and go inside to the rotary valve, which I am curious on its condition too. So I need a mini wire brush. That's my problem. I got a toothbrush somewhere, but I need a wire brush. Help clean stuff off so much better and faster and easier. And right, got more retainers here. Lots of sawdust, dirt, and Pacific Northwest. I would presume that's where it did all of its work at, because it's where it come from, but it's at least where a lot of these were at. Alright, so what were we doing? What were we doing, guys? Guys and gals? We were finding out what size those are. Bigger than that. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna have to break out some for some. Alright, let's get those clips pushed to the side again. Sorry if that's washing you there real bad, that light. Hold on, let me. We'll just do that for you guys. I can still see. It's all starting to not weigh anything now. And I blew all the PB blaster out of the cylinder. All over my arm. Got it washed off. It's like, oh, you ding dong, you stood right in the way. Has this one got a lock on it? Yeah, right there. Whoop, hit you guys in the head. Yeah, I pulled the four-wheeler over too, and second pull on choke, fired right up. Usually I have to leave it choked forever. Put it on half choke real quick for another few seconds and pushed it right off and just run. So definitely wasn't a fuel issue it had the whole time, or most of the time since I've had it. It was just ignition. I really should have videoed that one, but it was just kind of one of those, you know, it was just a frustrating thing. Because those four-wheelers, those Suzuki LT 125s, and they're really becoming popular. Some light. Fortunately, the only light I have is overly bright. I guess it works good right there for y'all. Yeah. It's just that glare that comes off of it that gets the best of it. Okay, well that's definitely not the size. And the impact. What the heck? There it is. Extension. Half the time, you're looking for the tools that you just had. Reaching for them. Yeah. On you. Let's see here. Is that a 3/8? Yeah, 3/8. And that feels like pretty much half the time as you're swapping out bits and stuff. That'll work. Behind this cover is going to tell us probably a lot, to be honest. And we're really, really hoping it isn't bad. Alright. I'm going to admit it's not too horrible. Get you all down here. I want you guys to see just as much as I am at the same time. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of buildup. We're looking right here. This is your intake. This is from your carburetor, a throttle, which you can see it's pretty rusty. Somebody pulled up on it and broke it like normal, so we're going to have to do the fix. So that one's a little rusted. That's your throttle slide here and there for idling and mixtures. Right here is your intake and your rotary, and it is closed. So memory's trying to serve me right now on where it is on the stroke process. Was it going up? If it was going up, I would suspect that this would be open, but I can't confirm. I know going down it's going to be closed because it has to push the charge from the bottom up. So it's closed right now, so the outside elements could not get in, at least through here. I mean, there's some nasties and everything in here, but that's the case itself, however. This is kind of supposed to be spring-loaded somewhat. It has a constant pressure. It has a little movement. So, alright. Take that gasket. We'll just leave that gasket. That's what we'll do. That's the plan. We got to get these bolts out because these two were holders of that. And then we have to tap it very carefully off. So I was kind of wanting to remove that cylinder, but I need to see that inside and see how it looks and everything. I kind of want to get a point of view from everything. So let's go ahead. I'll get. So that looks like to be the only one there. Get you guys back here so I don't whack you again. So far, it's not like it's a complete mess on the inside. It's mess, but not... It's not too horrific. But we've only just scratched the surface when it comes to... on this one. When it comes to getting on the inside. That's just a washer, retainer on that one. What was I looking for, guys? Impact. Actually, I like the thought, if I can, using the nut one here. trying to think if I got to get inside to take that points rod out of place. I might be able to plier it over. Not sure if it really has to come off or out. Yeah, it's getting stuck in there. I may have to rip the guts of the points out. I'm not sure. Usually I have them ripped out though for my own sake, because it rides on a cam. So other than that, that's what holds it together. Now we start the process of being very nice and telling it please, please, and please to come off. Trick is where to tap, how to tap, and you know, we're gonna go ahead and do it. We're gonna take the points. Go ahead and look it in there, because that rod, I think there's like a jump it has to make. I can't superly recall it. Said I've only taken apart 2 of these fully, and those are both 73s. I'm pretty sure these things are going to be crusty beyond head. But let's find out. Oh man. I don't think a little WD-40 is going to bring that back to life. Let's see. Do they still break? Yeah, they still break. Yeah, look at that. That capacitor died a long time ago. So, unfortunately, the points on these are dead. Dead. I actually do both of mine run off of Nova, or just the one? I think one of them runs off a Nova chip, and it loves it too. So I'm gonna go ahead and tear all that apart, get that rod out of there. We'll be right back. Points are out, and the good news is we don't actually have to pull this all the way out. That is a hollow tube, so be very careful on it. So it is hollow. We got it pulled out just enough to not even be touching points and everything. Or at least it shouldn't be. Making me doubt myself, y'all. So be very careful. Should be enough to clearance anything in there. So now we start that process. Tapping it off. And making more of a mess. Make sure we've got everything and everybody here. Might do a hyperlapse of this actually. Let's do that. Alright, after about a half hour messing with it, screwdrivers here, there, everywhere, it cracked loose finally. And now I've got it to where it's doing this little rotational bit where you can rotate and shimmy it out. And I'm doing it with a hammer. Down. There we go. I think I'm about to win this. Mind you, like I say, a half hour of going around with screwdrivers and looking at it, tapping. PB Buster should be sponsoring me at this point. my goodness. Don't you dare skip ahead. You're right here at this point. We're going to go to battle together. And I'm not looking. Over here. I'm going to look at this together. Oh, that bearing is definitely seized on there. Ugh. Not looking. I'm looking up. I promise. I'm looking up. All right, now I'm looking down. Oh, Nelly. And I can see what was killing me was this bearing. There's your wear plate. That bearing, which I can find those. I can find those bearings. That's no biggie. That bearing is what was killing me. Alright, we'll move some stuff here and we're going to sit back and we're going to assess. We got to get that out. So it was from where this position is right here. Intake would be up. So it's actually, it's on a downstroke connecting rod in there. See it? Right there. It was on a downstroke. So it doesn't have really much up to go. What I can see in there, it ain't too bad. I mean, the bearings are rusted, but that ain't too much. But the wear plate on these is different on the 77s. And this one's pretty thick still. It looks like it can be cleaned up. That bearing will have to get it pressed out. So, a seal on it. Yeah, that bearing is beyond toast. The wear plate looks decent. That's the biggest thing. So, that's one of the biggest things right there. Alright, we're going to sit back here and look. So, our throttle, and it actually, this is in good shape. I know it looks bad, but it isn't destroyed right here, like in all of them I've had that I've had tear apart both 73s, where somebody gripped it and bent it and broke it. This can be saved, and you can see how it moves. From you have idle and other air intakes, fuel and air, and they combine. And as you open up the port here for your high speed, more air, more fuel till you're wide open throttle for fuel and air. Actually, I think that might just be your air right there. I'm not 100%. Yeah, the air and that, and then this is just where there's nothing here. Okay. Fuel, air, and then you just, and like I said, there's a high speed for idle to up increase at least I think there is. I don't know if this one has it or not. We'll have to double check. But as you open up that one, it closes that one, high speed opens, low, and then faster, 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 faster until wide open throttle, air, and everything. So this whole guy right here, as rusty as it is, it can be saved. Come up there, sweetie. I don't have fingernails. There we go. There it is. That can be saved. At least I'm going to attempt to, obviously, because I'll set you up there somewhere special. So, next task will be getting the this out. And this is supposed to be spring loaded, and obviously it's not. It's a tight tolerance fit into there though. And then this looks to be the governor down here. I'm not sure if this is actually governed or if it's just a slot. But it might be a governed saw. I just don't see much wear on it though. I mean, where the crankshaft sat, where the bearing sat on the crank, it left marks, but it didn't destroy it. Gotta wash off. Wash things off. That's what pants are for. So, it could be cleaned up and polished. I got a guy that said he'll do it for me. Now the trick is going to be getting this old girl out. And I'm not 100% on this one. This is kind of one of those. Actually, we'll go with the groove. There's a wear washer right here, and I think I got those. If not, they're just like little shims. I wish I knew where the actual heat blaster itself went. Oh, it fell into the... Just soak the bottom of that. Everything's a mess now. Got 28 minutes left on my card. I've used up 8 so far of explaining this, so I'll get that tapped back out, and we'll go from there. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here. I'm going to on the next video. The plan is to, because this is going to be very difficult to try to pull it out because it's kind of stuck to the crank. So I'm going to have to get behind it. And the only way I'm going to be able to really do that is I'm going to have to take the cylinder off. So once we get the bolts off the cylinder, hopefully I can get this rotated enough to cut that connecting rod, and then we can really get progress of trying to get behind this and pull and get it pushed off. I want to try and save it, but I don't know. We'll see how what time does, because it's dissimilar metals. You've got this aluminum on this steel, and of course, what's that do over time? So, yeah. That's pretty much as far as we can go for this evening on this. I'm getting pretty long on the video anyway, so we got this far, and that's awesome. So at least we've got it torn down to this. I can clean up, bag stuff, get reset for the next video. So, all right, this is part 1 of the Model 77 revival, I guess, is what we're going to call this. This is a revival. We're going to try to bring it back to life. So, all right, I'll say thanks for watching, and like we'll see, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. You know, get it out, get your hands dirty. And I've washed them once, but get them dirty. This is not hard, guys. You just a little bit of thinking and a little know-how. Time with it, as you've seen. You will get this. Any questions? There's me, there's Jeremy, Bell, and a whole community of people. McCulloch Chainsaws North America on Facebook is where you can find me, and many others who are very helpful with getting these saws up and going again. So, I say thanks for watching.